so
we're going. Hello, and welcome Barnstormers fans to the beautiful Clipper Magazine Stadium. Here with Brooks Morgan and Evan Popalis calling your game tonight as the Barnstormers take on the Road Warriors in Atlantic League Baseball. Your weather today originally started a little rough this morning, however it looked to be clearing up. A few clouds right now, however we're hoping tonight will stay nice and dry. Hasn't been that way for most of the season, but looks like we might be able to get it done tonight. Evan, tell us about our lineups this evening.
Well, with our lineups this evening, Brooks, for the visiting Road Warriors, managed by Eli Rodriguez, leading off the shortstop number 2, Osvaldo Martinez, batting second, the second baseman Melvin Rodriguez Ortiz, batting third, number 24, the right fielder Jorge Fernandez Diaz. In the cleanup spot, it's going to be the first baseman Jose Julio Ruiz, batting fifth, Gustavo 7, Darian Sanford, batting second, third baseman number 28, Josh Bell. Batting third is going to be number 2, the right fielder, Blake Galen. Batting cleanup, the designated hitter, Jimmy Paredes. The catcher, Ryan Castile. He'll bat fifth tonight. First baseman, Casey Hobson, will bat in the 6th spot. Batting seventh is going to be number 1, Vladimir Frias, the shortstop. Second baseman, Carlos Garcia, will bat 8th. And at the bottom tonight for the Barnstormers, left fielder Rico Noel. And on the hill for the Stormers, right-handed pitcher Joe Gardner, coming in with a 3-8 record. And our umpires for tonight, at home plate we have Derek Mosa. Over at first we have Nate Caldwell. And at third base we have Carlos Daño.
That's right, Evan. Going into tonight's game, we have a few keys of the game to bring to you. We really believe that the Barnstormers need to get some early runs to help out Joe Gardner. In his last outing, the Barnstormers only managed to put up 2 hits of their own. That was against the Road Warriors last Wednesday. And we were discussing this earlier, Evan. We really think the Barnstormers need to show to their boy Joe that they can get it done for him. The last week was a fluke, but tonight's the night, and they will be able to help him out.
And with that, Joe Gardner has been struggling this season. As I said, he's got a 3-8 record, but just pitching phenomenally last Wednesday. And for the Barnstormers to not give him any help, that was honestly saddening for us as fans and viewers. But I think the offense might be able to come tonight and give Joe a good chance to come out with a W tonight.
Absolutely. To his credit, Joe did put up some really great numbers last week. And to get the win tonight, he's going to be able to do that again. He only comes into this game with a 3-8 record. If you take last week's bugaboo from the Stormers out of it, he's still only at 3-7. So I really think they need to get him going again. He allowed 5 hits and 2 runs last week while walking 1 and striking out 3. Those are pretty solid numbers for an Atlantic League starter. He only had 1 runner reach scoring position in the innings of 2 to 7, which really just shows his dominance through the heart of the game. But he hasn't picked up a game win since June 8th. However, that was against the Road Warriors, so you got to think tonight's the night, get him back up to where he needs to be, get that win, make it 4-8 for the boy.
And as you said, his left end this Barnstormers team ahead coming down the home stretch.
Joe Gardner tonight is... Joe Gardner is one of the longest tenured Barnstormers. This is his 5th season with the team. Actively, only Ross Peoples and Blake Galen are our 2 others. So he really is a veteran around these parts. He knows the Lancaster area well. And it'd be nice to see him continue to do well for us this year. Last night, we saw John Anderson fire 5 shutout innings to bring the Barnstormers to a 4-2 victory over New Britain in that 3-game series. Tonight, heading into this series, everyone is hot. Evan, tell us about who all's hot right now.
Oh, you said it right. Everyone is hot for the Stormers right now. Ryan Castile, the catcher, has hit safely in 13 of his last 15 games with a .351 average. Blake Galen, the all-star right fielder, 20 for his last 73. That's a 384, and he has 8 home runs and 17 RBIs in his last 21 games. Also doing well in the last couple of games, Jimmy Paredes is 8 for 15 in his last 4. And the leadoff man, Darian Sanford, is 379 over his last 15 games, And after struggling in the beginning of the year for Sanford, he's been able to pick up the bat and just hit that ball lately.
He's really been dominant. He's got a really high average, 379 over his last 15 games, which has helped the Barnstormers put themselves into a position to make a nice playoff run here. They are 5.5 games behind your Freedom Division leaders, Sugarland Skeeters. However, that same record puts them 6 games over New Britain, who they just finished up a series with in the wild card race. For those of you unfamiliar, the Atlantic League features a 2-half playoff system. Sugarland won the first half, clinching them a playoff spot. And as of right now, it looks as if Sugarland will be repeating that top spot for the second half, and the Barnstormers will be able to take a wild card spot with the second half Freedom Division position. We'll see you in a few minutes for our first pitch. Please stick with us. That'll be only about 4 minutes away.
We're back here at Clipper Magazine Stadium Pre-game festivities coming to an end as Joe Gardner takes the mound as he begins his warm-up before tonight's game gets started. Road Warriors coming in 6-24 in the second half and an overall record of 23-70. Your Lancaster Barnstormers 15-14 so far in the second half with a 52-39 record overall. And how the defense will align with Joe Gardner. Catcher Ryan Castile. Over at first base, KC Hobson. Carlos Garcia is going to be playing second base tonight. Vladimir Frias over at short. And at third base is Josh Bell. In right field is Blake Galen. Center field, Darian Sanford. And over in left is Rico Noel. As we get ready for tonight's game, Brooks, what are you looking for?
That's right, Joe Gardner here. We were mentioning him earlier. He's really one of the keys to the game. The Barnstormers' defensive pitching has been some of their struggling points this year. They seem to be picking it up recently, and I think is due to some of their surging. Joe Gardner himself, I mentioned it earlier again, he's a 5-year Stormer. However, this is the first year that he's actually opened the season with the team. In the past, he's always been joining partway through the season. Because of that, he is top 5 in the franchise in innings and wins. He's been a bit of a journeyman since he was drafted with the Colorado Rockies. Excuse me. Since he was drafted with the Indians. He's been in the Carolina League, Midwest League, Eastern League, Texas League, Southern League, and now the Atlantic League. The reason I was mentioning he was with the Indians before, he was traded to Colorado's system in the deal that sent Ubaldo Jimenez over to the Indians. That's a bit of a good accolade for him. He was sent over with a few other minor leaguers when he was drafted out of UC Santa Barbara. We are underway here. Called ball for Joe Gardner as the pitch is against Osvaldo Martinez, shortstop for the Road Warriors. Martinez swings through one here, actually drops his bat. He swung so hard, he's getting himself organized. Whole step back in. Gardner off to a good start. Excuse me, he has 2 strikes now.
Martinez, the 218 overall batting average, 4 home runs and 18 RBIs to his credit. Drafted in the 11th round by the Marlins in 2006.
Fouls the ball down the first base line. Hobson over, hoping it might have been a playable ball, but it's called foul just before it gets to the bag. That'll set up another 0-2 scenario here for Mr. Martinez.
Just looking forward to tonight. Are the teams going to try and play any different? Because they just saw each other a week ago. They're going to try and play off of any mishaps that the Barnstormers or Road Warriors, in the other cases, maybe.
Another pitch. This one's called a ball, 1-2. Martinez holds. I don't know about that. I believe in a league like this where you see everybody so often, adjustments almost seem a moot point as Martinez grounds the ball up through the center of the diamond. He will reach first safely and comfortably. Martinez isn't really your typical leadoff guy. He only has 6 stolen bases. However, with the Road Warriors being the type of team they are, and that they are struggling this year somewhat, 6 stolen bases really is one of their better clips here. We'll see Melvin Rodriguez now step into the batter's box. Rodriguez sets. And Gardner fires. It's called low. A ball. Count is 1-0 here for the Barnstormers.
Rodriguez Ortiz was born in Manatí in Puerto Rico, and he was drafted by the Nationals back in 2015.
Soft throw over to first just reminds Martinez that Gardner knows he's there. Really not any kind of actual pickoff attempt. He's able to scamper back quickly.
Third baseman Bell playing on the infield grass, just in case trying to set up a bunt play.
You'll note our right fielder, Blake Galen, is almost back at the warning track. Rodriguez is a pretty serious pull hitter. He's got a little bit of pop. He has 4 home runs on the season. And Galen's just trying to stop anything from going over his head, keep the damage limited with Martinez on first. Galen has actually yet to miss a game this year. Barnstormers have played 92. He has played 92 as well. And the offering A little bloop single right over the left side of the diamond. Bell hops a little bit forward, but no, he doesn't have it. That comes off of the 1-1 count. And the Road Warriors, with no outs here in the first inning, have met at first and second. Score is obviously still 0-0 as our third three-hole hitter bats in here. Jorge Fernandez Diaz, batting .243, 10 home runs, and 28 RBIs thus far.
We talked about Gardner's great outing last week, and Jorge Fernandez Diaz actually was the one that got one of those runs, a solo homer in the top of the first inning. So let's see what he does here.
Gardner's first inning was a little rough last time. It looks like he's going for the repeat performance here. He had quite a few dominant innings, however, those appeared to be between the 2nd and 7th, as we mentioned before. So Gardner's no stranger to trying to dig himself out of trouble. However, if he gets too far behind here, the offense is really going to need to have faith that he's not going to have one of his patented blow-ups, resulting in his 8 losses. Your count is 0-1 for Fernandez Diaz. He takes. Count is 1-1 on the 85 mph. Will look to be probably slider off the edge of the plate. He sets in, both men taking a fairly significant lead. Melvin Rodriguez Ortiz just takes his extra step there. Looks to be a double play ball here. Flip to second and on to first. Both runners are retired. We now have a man at third for the Road Warriors with 2 outs. That was a pretty sweet flip there by the Barnstormers second baseman Carlos Garcia to Frias covering the bag.
Classic 4-6-3 double play right there, and that's going to give the Stormers a good chance to get out of this inning with no damage if Gardner is able to retire the cleanup man, Jose Julio Ruiz.
You got to think anything safe out of the infield would score him, being the leadoff man. You got to expect he has some wheels. He takes a pretty healthy lead here. First pitch against Ruiz is called a ball, 89 mph. It looked to be on the outside of the plate. I'd expect something inside here. Try and jam the big man. And that's exactly what he gets. Swings over the top of it. Foul ball down the first baseline. Galen, you'll see, is still actually out playing extremely deep right field. I guess the idea there is to try and limit the pulling power of the big first baseman. A nice drive straight back up the middle. Sanford is able to retire him fairly comfortably, however. We're going to take a short pause here. The Barnstormers will be batting in the second half of this inning. They'll bat Sanford, Bell, and then Galen to lead off.
back here at Clipper Magazine Stadium as Darian Sanford is about to step in, going against the right-handed pitcher of Alberto Rodriguez with a 1-1 in 3 start, but a 6.75 ERA. However, he was able to shut out the Stormers last Wednesday in their winning performance, 2-0.
I think that seemed to be more of an aberration on the Barnstormers' part. I really don't think Rodriguez is that dominant of a pitcher. I think the Barnstormers just didn't have it on. Sanford here, we noted last week, is an extremely fast base runner. Currently holds the team's single season and career stolen base records. And actually, as of right now, is only one stolen base between himself or his teammate Rico Noel away from tying the tandem record for the Stormers set back in '05. The count is now 1-1 for Mr. Sanford. Josh Bell warming up. A little bloop single hits right next to the bag. The shortstop Martinez guns him down at first as Bell ambles his way over to the batter's box. Sanford, with his impressive speed, almost beat that one out.
Bang, bang play right there.
He did. That's not normally a play you'd think would be a bang, bang play, but Sanford, the former minor league prospect, almost ran it down.
Martinez made a nice play over there at short to make sure that the speedy center fielder didn't get on the base path early.
Stepping up now for the Barnstormers, hoping to change the 0-0 score at the moment, is Josh Bell. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Here's the first pitch. That is called a ball. Looked to be a little outside. Bell is actually the Barnstormers' hitting coach as well. Through a variety of factors, ended up being activated, and now is a fairly regular installment in the infield after he came out to a real hot start. He's still hitting .246 with 4 home runs to his name. I think we've seen all of them here at Clipper Magazine Stadium over the right field wall, the Haller Picnic Pavilion. Ooh, a scorcher down the first base line. He is also out, not really a close play, but hustling hard. And Blake Galen, the perennial superstar for the Barnstormers, steps in.
Talking about how Blake's been so hot, looking to keep that going. Hits most of his home runs here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and last week in this series just completely went off, hitting multiple home runs in one game. And I'm pretty sure he had 4 in that series. See what he can do here in his first at-bat of the ball game.
Galen leads the club all time in almost every imaginable offensive statistic: runs, hits, doubles, home runs, RBI, games, and at-bats. Those last 2 were added this season. A well-hit ball deep into center field, however, Ray is able to track it down fairly comfortably. That ends the inning for the Barnstormers. We'll head here to the second with the score 0-0. Barnstormers go down 1-2-3 this inning. We will see you in just one moment.
Back here in Lancaster, coming up for the Road Warriors is going to be the 5, 6, 7 hitters. Leading off is going to be the third baseman Gustavo Pierre. Joe Gardner, pretty impressed with him in the first inning, honestly. Almost got himself in a bad scenario, but was able to get out of it. Very impressive, I believe.
Very handy double play there. Right side of the infield involved in that. First pitch here, foul down the third baseline. No real attempt to try and recover it as well off to the side.
Pierre is hitting .278 with 12 home runs, and that is leading the Road Warriors.
Isaac Wenrick is on deck right now. He's a former Barnstormer, started the season with them, and is now with the Road Warriors. A hit here, a diving play by Bell. Not sure if you really need to go down to his knees. However, he throws well and just clips Pierre in the bang-bang play. It was really a Sports Center play that Bell made out of thin air. He probably could have fielded it comfortably if he had had a better jump on it. Even Frias backing him up might have been able to snag it, but goes down to his knees, says, hey, let's make this a little bit more impressive. Call up Sports Center.
I think Bell took more of an awkward first step, so it was more difficult to get to that ball, but nevertheless able to make a nice play out of it and retire Pierre to bring up the former Barnstormer, as you just mentioned, Isaac Wenrick. He's batting .232, 3 homers and 14 RBIs to his name.
Warming up in the on-deck circle, Edwin Gomez, the DH, as Wenrick takes a ball there, bringing the count to 1-0. There's still no runs either side, either Barnstormers or Road Warriors, as that looks to be another ball outside part of the plate.
Wenrick has 39 career home runs across 5 seasons of professional baseball.
Another outside pitch, however, looks like he brought it in a little bit. Mosa says that one's a strike, brings the count to 2-1 with 1 out against Wenrick. That one looked to be outside as well. An 86-mile-per-hour pitch brings up the hitter's count for Wenrick 3-1.
And I believe with the catchers that the Barnstormers had, as that pitch is fouled away, it was just too hard for us to keep a third catcher. We have 2 great catchers here already with Ryan Castile, an all-star, and Anderson De La Rosa, who has been a great backup catcher. So I just believe there wasn't much room for Wenrick, and just happy he was able to find another squad like the Road Warriors.
Anytime you're able to bat your catcher in the 5 spot and really have him be a team leader there as Wenrick walks, bringing up Edwin Gomez, the DH. As I was saying, anytime you're able to have a catcher who's able to make the all-star team, mostly on his offensive performance, batting in the 5 spot, then have a backup catcher, Anderson De La Rosa, a really solid defensive player, you've kind of got your catching setup made, and anytime you can get a trade worked out, especially with an extra player, business is baseball, and that's what they're going to do. Pitch is low for Gomez. Garner might have disagreed a little bit there, but alas, the count is 1-0.
And Ryan Castile, he's hitting the 5-hole today, but honestly, the past month or so, he's been in the number 4 spot every game that he's played in.
Line drive down the third base line. Almost got into fair territory. Would have been a good opportunity, possibly even setting up 2 runners in scoring position on a double for Gomez, but that is not the case. It slices foul just a little bit. You can see the Road Warriors bullpen ducking out of the way. As he steps back in, count 1-1.
Gomez drafted in the 9th round in 2009 by the Detroit Tigers.
We're finally starting to get some relief of our playing surface as Gomez fouls off another one, bringing the count to 1-2. It was pretty rough looking this morning. We got a lot of rain last night. They repaired it pretty well, and as this evening continues, it looks like it's be drying out a good bit. The players are starting to break it in. They'll be continuing to look for that field to improve. Garner sets and fires a little inside. Gomez actually needs to step out of the way for that one. Does this little hip pop, brings the count to 2-2. 1 out and no runs here in the top of the second for the Road Warriors.
Yeah, we were probably about 45 minutes away from game time earlier, and they were still working on this field, trying to get in good position position to play in.
Scorcher down the first base line. Hobson struggles to field it and then struggles to throw it. Looks like that's probably going to be charged as an error on his part as he threw over to second. Couldn't be handled by Frias. We now have runners at first and third as Gomez stays at first and Pierre advances to third.
Yeah, that error is going to be charged to Hobson. Just rushed the throw on. He bobbled it a little bit. It was a hot shot right on the infield grass.
He stopped it well. He got his knees down. He got in position. It really should have been the kind of play he made, but I think he got a little flustered, panicked maybe, and overthrew.
Got a little anxious. Didn't give time for Frias to even get over to second base. He was basically diving across the bag.
Daniel Aldrich now in, swings at the first pitch, a liner into left field. The left fielder throws it in, and it looks like they're going to get him at home as number 33, Isaac Wenrick, is retired, trying to advance from third base. That was a really great throw for Rico Noel out in left field. Especially for someone who normally plays second base. I mean, that's exactly what you'd want.
Exactly. That was a good arm for someone that's usually playing about 40 feet from the first baseman every night. We'll head to the bottom of the second inning. It's going to be Paredes, Castile, and Hobson for the Barnstormers. We'll be right back. As we're back here for the bottom of the second inning, one of the newer Barnstormer additions, Jimmy Paredes, the designated hitter tonight, will step in. He's the cleanup batter.
He joined the Barnstormers on July 23rd of this season. Up to that point, he was playing in Korea. He's a former Astro, Oriole, and Philly. He was originally signed with the Yankees, though, and notably was part of the deal that sent Lance Berkman from Houston to New York. He steps in here as the pitcher Rodriguez fires. Swings at the first pitch. A nice single into left field. Right field, as the right fielder Fernandez Diaz fields it and holds Paredes at first base. Ryan Castile now steps into position. We were talking about him earlier. He's really a top hitter for the Barnstormers. Castile being up brings in Hobson to the on-deck circle.
Castile's been hot. The Chattanooga native playing catcher tonight.
Paredes takes his lead. It's a little short, but he's light on his toes. Low outside, easily a ball called for Castile, our batter. Castile is currently on a hitting streak of 1. He has hit safely, lost my place there. He has hit safely in 17 of the last 20 games, 25 for 77, a .325 batting average for the catcher.
in the last series against the Road Warriors. 4 for 13. Home run, a double to his credit. That pitch is inside.
Right-hander takes the second ball, brings the count to 2-1. Still no runs here for the Barnstormers, but things are looking promising here as they have a runner in the heart of their order on base with no outs.
Castillo almost eclipsing that 300 average.
Another take looks to be successful, and it is 3-1 against Castillo. Rodriguez here is probably going to need to send a fastball. Can't risk setting up men at first and second with no outs. So I bet Castillo's looking for something probably a little bit farther on the outside part of the plate, but definitely a fastball. It's not quite exactly what he gets, a fastball, but on the inside part of the plate, looked to be about 87 mph, brings a full count against Castillo.
Good pitch right there from Rodriguez to keep this at bat alive. Castillo thought that was going to be ball 4. He'll step back in here. It's full.
Paredes taking an extremely small lead. He's inside of the cutout around first base. Oh, but he goes anyways on a 3-2 count. Ball's fouled off back over the head of our on-deck batter, Casey Hobson. Paredes will need to return to his original position there.
Castillo fighting to stay alive. This is going to be pitch 7 of the at-bat.
Right fielder for the Road Warriors, again, like Galen, is almost back up against the wall. Paredes takes a really healthy lead this time. However, another foul ball keeps the count the same. And Castillo will step back in the box. This is going to be a pretty long AB here.
Castillo's hit a grand slam against the Road Warriors this year. He's been pretty dynamic in their games against each other. As quick throw over to first. Paredes gets back in time.
This is probably the longest at-bat we've seen so far tonight. I think the Barnstormers would like to continue to see outings like this. The Road Warriors, for as much of a rocky pitching staff as they have to begin with, is even more notorious for their lack of bullpen. So if they can knock Rodriguez out early, they'd like to. That AB eventually ends here in another walk for Castillo. That sets up men at first and second. Hobson stepping into the batter's box, and Frias, the shortstop, coming up in the on-deck circle.
Exactly I'm agreeing with what you said right before that with the pitching. We're talking about Rodriguez, how he was good in his last game, only gave up 2 hits through 7. Make him throw a lot of pitches right now, and then he just gave up an 8-pitch walk right there to Ryan Castillo. So just make him throw pitches, get into that bullpen of the Road Warriors, and we should be looking pretty good tonight.
Hobson swings at the first pitch. Looks like he just ground into a double play. He hustles to try and stop it, but big man does not have wheels. We got a man at third now with 2 outs for the Barnstormers. Anything safe should score the quick Paredes. And Vladimir Frias, with one of the best averages in the entire league, is probably the Barnstormers' best hope overall to get him into position. Hobson, getting off to a fairly short start there in the beginning of the year, who just grounded out, has heated up some. He's now one of the top Barnstormers hitters, especially in the power category. He had 7 home runs coming into tonight's ball game. Frias gets set up. Pitch from Rodriguez. He shows bunt, looking for a little bit of a squeeze play, but that is called as probably a strike.
I believe that was on the outside part of the plate for a ball.
Oh, never mind. You are correct.
They just got that back up on the board. Pierre was playing on the inside part of the grass, and then the rest of the infield is way back on the outfield grass.
A real swing here sends it back over top of our heads for a foul ball that makes it 1-1. 2 outs, no runs for the Barnstormers here, bottom half of the second inning.
Vlad's been sensational this year, batting .314 with those 6 homers and 30 RBIs. He's got 13 stolen bases as well.
Made an Atlantic League All-Star appearance this year. A nice honor for him. Swings through one there, brings the count to 1-2 against the shortstop.
Good off speed right there from Rodriguez. Looking to put Frias down here to get out of this trouble here in the bottom of the second. Rodriguez
really is more of a control pitcher. I don't think we've seen any pitch over 90 mph yet tonight. That seems a little off for a big-time pitcher like Rodriguez. However, speed really isn't necessarily his style. That one's 81 in the dirt. Brings the count to 2-2. I think he's going to continue to play this the rest of the way he has so far tonight. Not giving the Barnstormers anything to hit, trying to give them opportunities to get themselves out as opposed to look for the strikeout.
He's had some good movement on these pitches so far, I've been able to tell.
Will look to be a fastball there, 89 it should be. Strikes out Frias, keeps our score at 0-0, and brings us to the Road Warriors part of the third inning.
Back here at Clipper Magazine Stadium for the Road Warriors. We're going to the top of the third right now. It's going to be the 9-1-2 batters, and it's going to be number 3, Anthony Ray, the center fielder, to lead off. He'll step in to the left batter's box as Joe Gardner gets ready to deal here.
We have the leadoff man, Osvaldo Martinez, on deck at the moment. He's stepping in right now. Ray hitting .239 on the year, no home runs, 10 ribbies, 4 doubles and 15 runs of his own. A little dribbler here to Bell at third base. Guns him out easily despite the hustling Ray. That'll bring up Osvaldo Martinez. He's been a quality hitter so far this year. I don't know if his average really accurately reflects how he's doing. He might not be a traditional leadoff kind of guy, but he's got some speed, 6 stolen bases to his credit, 19 runs, and he's looking to give the Road Warriors their first run of the game. The score is still 0-0.
Martinez in his first at-bat hit a ground ball right back up the middle. Shortstop Vladimir Frias unable to make a play on that, as he's got an 0-1 count to him now in the pitch.
And that should make it 0-2, excuse me, 1-1 for the shortstop. Gardner finds a sign he likes, deals, swings, and it looks like he will have his second hit of the night. That one is into right field. Blake Galen, the right fielder, recovers it, throws it into the infield to keep him at first base.
Martinez is making good contact on the ball tonight so far. Those 2 hard hit balls.
Looks like he will be looking to up his average after this evening, and he continues to do well. He comes into this game doing what he'd like to be doing as well. Melvin Rodriguez Ortiz, number 5, second base for the Road Warriors, steps in. He's a lefty. He's got a bit of a short chopper kind of swing. That's exactly what he does. Chops it straight to second base. Throw over to first. That's a double play.
Quick 1-2, or yeah, no, not 1-2-3. Quick inning right there for the Road Warriors. We're heading to the bottom of the third. Barnstormers coming up. We're going to have second baseman Carlos Garcia, left fielder Rico Noel, and then back to the order with Darian Sanford, the center fielder, when we come back.
That's some extremely quick runners there. The Barnstormers will be looking to capitalize on a couple guys with good averages, good base running abilities, try and make it a scored game. As of right now, we are 0-0, heading to the bottom of this game.
Back here in Lancaster for the bottom of the third inning. Carlos Garcia, the second baseman tonight, will step in. A quick second baseman, so if he can get anything down in the infield, he might be able to run it out.
No. Seems to be a trend in Lancaster. Second basemen like to dye their hair blonde. Both he and Rico Noel have the frosted tips. He fouls that one, brings the count to 0-1. He's hitting .261 on the season. No home runs to his name, but 14 RBIs. Not in an RBI kind of position right here. Just looking to be the setup guy. Build the table for the guys in the heart of the order coming up behind him and Noel.
Count is 0-1, and the last homestand against the Road Warriors, Carlos went 3 for 9 and had 2 stolen bases. That one's way in the dirt.
Garcia has to sort of jump out of the way on that one. Almost lost his feet. Almost chattering to the catcher behind him, it looked like. I'm not sure what that's all about. But either way, the count is 1-1. Garcia stretching it out right now, just sort of getting himself organized to get back in after what was probably a bit of a panicky kind of pitch there. It was really well inside. Rodriguez hoping to recover from that. He looks in, gets set. Still working on finding his pitch, and delivers here. A really light swing for Garcia. Looked like he was tentatively trying to decide whether or not to swing. He obviously does. Brings the count to 1-2.
He foul tipped that pitch right into the mask of Wenrick and his mask.
Yeah, the pitcher looks like consulting with a shortstop. Not normally a traditional source of pitching advice, I would think. So you really got to think that was just to give Wenrick a chance to re-find his bearings here. Looks like he has. Garcia steps in, his little looping batting stance. A really nice pitch there. It looks to be jamming him on the inside. No swing. Brings the count to 2-2.
Pitcher's inside and low, looking for Garcia to fish at that one, but he's not going to give.
Looks like our MPH reader's a little bit off. That was a 45 MPH pitch, according to the official gun in the stadium, so you gotta believe that was probably a little bit faster than that.
That one's
a nice slicer past the second baseman who dove for it. Whole round first base, Garcia will, as that brings up Noel, who's got a really great average.
Rodriguez Ortiz, when diving for that one, it went right under his glove. It could have been a nice play. Don't know if he would have been able to regroup and throw over to first in time, but the speed of Garcia, as Noel's going to step in here, hitting .294, has 1 home run and 20 RBIs.
We were waiting a while for that home run. Noel started the season with a really great batting average, and when you're putting that many balls in play, you got to think at least one of them will find their way past that outfield fence, but it took him until just a few weeks ago to finally get one out of here.
And Rico's been battling injuries the last couple of months. Hard to stay in the lineup as that pitch gets away, and Garcia's going to take second.
Really nice lead into third. Noel was actually squaring to bunt there. We've noted before that he is the number 2 stolen base leader for the Barnstormers so far this year. So, you know, he has some wheels on him.
He's got 39 stolen bases. Not enough to catch up to leadoff man Darian Sanford, who waits in the on-deck circle. But 39 stolen bases is still an incredible number.
Yeah, that's up there with some of the most notable numbers so far this year in the entire league. Garcia takes a real healthy lead. Noel squares to bunt again. Looked like the first baseman for the Road Warriors, Julio Ruiz, running after it, but gets by him, brings the count to 1-1.
Wenrick walks that ball back out to Rodriguez on the mound. Gonna have a quick chat, and they're already back on their separate ways. As the count is 1-1, trying to sit down Noel without giving up a run here.
Alberto Rodriguez, we mentioned earlier, key to it was impossible to begin with a nice little dribble that dies in front of the pitcher's mound. We now have been at first and third, no outs for the Barnstormers. Leadoff man Darian Sanford coming up. This is a really great opportunity for the Barnstormers to put some runs up here in the third inning.
Exactly, Brooks. That was a beautiful bunt. He laid that down probably only 12 to 15 feet out of the box, but it just died right in the grass, right in between the pitcher's mound and catcher spot of Wenrick, and just no chance. Noel with that blazing speed.
Looks exactly like what you would be taught to do in Little League. You're watching your little instructional videos. You might as well make one out of that there. It was really just the ideal bunt, especially with such a speedy guy, Noel. He's dancing around with his lead. The pitch looks to be a ball there. Brings the count to 1-0 on leadoff man Darian Sanford.
Sanford's been hot lately. We talked about that earlier. And with runners on first and third, it wouldn't surprise me if Noel took off on one of these pitches. See if they can get the Road Warriors to make a
getting real
bad
antsy.
play.
Rodriguez looks over. Oh, he looks to go. A nice dying bloop infield single there. Excuse me, just over the infield there for Darian Sanford. Brings home our first run of the game. Barnstormers make it 1-0 on the Darian Sanford RBI. Scores Carlos Garcia. We have 2 of the fastest men in the Atlantic League now on first and second base, with one of the hottest hitters, Josh Bell, coming up to bat, especially with no outs. This really is what the Barnstormers would be looking to happen. Rattle the pitching early, give Gardner some confidence. Gardner's really mellowed down after that uppity first inning, only giving up 1 more hit.
Bellas had some real pop in his bat, especially here at Clipper Magazine. Let's see if he can get one over that storied wall out there and right. He's going to try and lay one down, actually.
Probably just trying to advance the quick runners there, not risk a double play scenario. That's really a veteran move, knowing his role in the team, advance the guys that are going to be bringing home the runs, not really looking to create numbers for himself, just for the team, especially with 2 of the best hitters on the Barnstormers roster right behind him. Blake Galen in the on-deck circle, Paredes behind him. It looks like he's just telling everybody right now, I'm going to bunt, you better be ready for it. The third baseman for the Road Warriors, Pierre, is all the way at the edge of the infield grass as they are in double play formation. The shortstop, Martinez, hovering right around the second base bag. Bell, not showing bunt at the moment, in full hitting stance, swings and fouls it off. Counts now 2-1 against the hitting coach and third baseman, Josh Bell.
Just think it's funny how injuries brought the hitting coach Josh Bell into this lineup, and just how amazing he's been. Just kind of befuddling, but he's been so good so far. I'm just trying to keep it going. He's moved up into the number 2 spot in the lineup. Shows
bunt again, pulls it back, but still a called strike. That brings the count to 2-2 with 1 run here for the Barnstormers. They're looking to capitalize on the big offense the bottom half of the order put together, and Bell looking to keep it rolling here in the top portion. Another pitch by Rodriguez, a nice bomb for Bell, bounces off the outfield wall and right. He loves that big green wall out in right field. That brings home Noel. That puts Sanford at third. We still have no outs, but the run count is 2 now for the Barnstormers. Blake Galen, perennial all-star. We can't seem to say enough about the former Independent League Player of the Year, both within the Atlantic League and the United States as a whole. He gets himself organized as Rodriguez. He's giving us a bit of a look right now of, I do not know what I'm doing, I do not know what's going on, and I would like it to stop right now. Josh Bell at first base, the base runner, Darian Sanford at third base, and like we just mentioned, Blake Galen here, the right fielder, at bat. He'll take that ball outside. Count is 1-0.
Blake looking for home run number 23. And RBI 72, 73, and 74 at this at-bat if he can get one out of here. Barnstormers already have 2 runs, as we've mentioned, and 5 hits. And they've only had 6 outs against them.
Josh Bell has been sneaky fast this year. He takes a really large lead, especially for an older, a little bit larger guy like himself. You wouldn't normally expect that. However, we were saying that just the other week, and he stole a base on us. He currently has quite a few stolen bases to his...
Bell on first, Sanford on third. Why not send Bell to second? See if you get a throw from Wenrick. You have the fastest player in the league, Sanford on third. Should be able to figure out a way to get home on any throw to second.
Either way, you're advancing a runner or scoring a run, and possibly even both. Bell being the sneaky fast guy that he is, I think they're trying to keep that possibility in Wenrick's head with Bell taking that big lead, like I mentioned. Galen fouls one off here, bringing the count to 1-2. The Barnstormers put up 2 runs this inning, still no outs, and the DH, Jimmy Paredes, in the on-deck circle.
Fans loving Blake Galen around here. Definitely the fans' favorite.
Absolutely. That or Trayvon Robinson. Both are frequents here on the Barnstormers roster. Lots of fans here know the 2 players' names. They make up 2/3 of the outfield. Like we mentioned, Darian Sanford in center field. There's a good number of fans here tonight for a Monday night game. Attendance will be announced later this evening. As Rodriguez here fires another foul ball for Galen. I think they're probably getting in the head of Rodriguez here, who just seems to be uncomfortable. He's having a lot of high-pitch at-bats. I can't see him going terribly late into this ball game at this point. He might not even make it out of this inning here if Galen can bat safely.
That ball was hit very hard over into the kids' park. Everyone's okay, though. Hit right off the light pole out there.
Somebody looks pretty excited. I think they might have got themselves a souvenir for this evening. Galen, almost a repeat performance here, hoping that ball will sneak into foul territory, and it does. Just out of the reach of the charging third baseman, Gustavo Pierre. Kids are scrambling to recover that as Galen steps back in. Count still 2-2 on the right fielder.
A lot of foul balls hitting this one, bringing that pitch count up for Rodriguez.
Peeks over at first base, where Bell taking a fairly sizable lead. Galen just getting ready. Bell finally takes off, but it looks to be a hit and run. Galen actually knocks that into the corner in right field. Darian Sanford scores. Bell takes another base. We now have the exact same scenario. Men at first and third, no outs, as the Barnstormers bring it up to a 3rd run for themselves. And yep, here we go. Here comes the manager out, calls time, wants to talk to his pitcher, Rodriguez. What do you think this conversation is going to be looking like, Evan?
I think it's just going to be, come on, we got to get out of this inning. I know it's too early to go to the bullpen, you would think, even though they might have to turn into that. But at this point, it's, come on, buddy, try and get a double play or something here. Strike out, anything. We'll give up another run for an out or 2. Just got to get an out on the board. There's still 0 outs in this inning, and we're at the 5th batter already.
One would think it might be too early to dip into the bullpen, but they've got some movement, some moseying around. Not sure if anybody's getting up, but nobody wants to have stiff legs and cold arms if that call does come to get organized. So people are people are roaming a little bit. This conversation here at the mound is dragging on. They've brought the first and third baseman in, talking about probably trying to set up a double play scenario, limit the damage here very quickly. Galen, he's got some speed to him. He has 12 stolen bases on the season, so I think they really need to try and figure out what they're going to do. Jimmy Paredes now steps in. He's the owner of a .309 batting average. He has 1 home run. However, he's got a lot of clutch plays, including 7 RBIs for himself. Him stepping into the batter's box brings up the catcher Ryan Castile.
Also, that meeting could have been, got to be careful with these next couple batters. They have some serious pop in the bat. They could easily put one over the fence, and that's 3 more runs right there. And then you're looking at game over already, and we're only 1/3 of the way through this game.
That is a ball there taken by Paredes on the outside part of the plate. Rodriguez honestly just looks gassed right now. He's leaning on his knees, looking around, just trying to figure out what's going to happen. I think this ball's probably going to be in the lower part of the plate, trying to get a ground ball. It is. That's called a ball, though. That's 2-0. Rodriguez has not shown a whole lot of variation in his pitches. It looks to be mostly a steady diet of fastballs, the occasional curve thrown in there, maybe a changeup just to keep things interesting. But that looks to be a really well inside fastball. I think he tried to overthrow that, to be honest. It looked like he just held onto the ball too long. His rotation in his arm is just off. It could be a long night for Rodriguez if he continues to go this way.
He does seem tired out there. It looks like once he gets the ball back from Wenrick, he's trying to deal quickly, but he just seems pretty tired in this inning, so he hasn't been able to go as fast as he'd like. Here comes the pitch.
Infield ready stance. Paredes swings. Honestly, it looks like there's a hole in his bat. He swung right through the chest-high pitch. That brings the count to 3-1 now against the DH. Our score is 3-0, like we mentioned before, for the Barnstormers. There are still no outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Still hitters count for Paredes.
Swings it. Another bloop single just over the head of the first baseman, Julio Ruiz. Galen looks to do the exact same thing all the men before him have done as he rounds second on the single, brings it into 3rd. Paredes gets himself an RBI. The count is 4-0. When will this massacre end?
I don't know. If for Rodriguez, it's just each batter, it's the same scenario. 1st and 3rd, no outs.
Couple foul balls, long AB, eventually a nice hit into right field.
Nice hit. I mean, these honestly aren't the hardest hit balls, but they're just perfectly placed right over the infielders' heads and are getting in. The only difference with these at-bats is you're down 1 extra run.
And who's doing the actual batting? Ryan Castile will come up for the 2nd time this game. Barring a double play, it looks like the Barnstormers might bat around this inning, actually, which would be a pretty impressive feat considering last week they only managed to get 2 hits off of this exact same pitcher. Must have made some adjustments. That ball is well inside in Castile. It looks like if he was leaning any harder, it might have clipped him. Makes it 1-1.
Some nice dance moves to get out of the way right there by Castile. Count 1-1. 4-0 Stormers now as we work the bottom of the 3rd.
Looks like Footloose in there, way he's flailing about. He swings on honestly, it looks like a curveball. That ball's not quite out of the park. It hits off the top of the wall. Very uncomfortable way of, well, repeating the exact same scenario. This is probably the 5th time now we've seen this. Men at 1st and 3rd, no outs, and like you said, just another run down. That brings it now to 5-0. Barnstormers, no outs. Rodriguez now kicks the mound. I think he'd like to be kicking himself. Asks for a new ball. Big man Casey Hobson in at first base. Steps to the plate. Batting behind him, Vladimir Frias. He ended last inning. So Barnstormers doing very well for themselves right now. 5 runs, 8 hits. They have an error to their name, but no outs in this bottom of the 3rd here. Hobson preparing himself. Still preparing himself as Rodriguez finally delivers. Looked to be a little high. I'm surprised, though. I think the catcher, Wenrick, might have done a poor job of framing that, because comparing that to the positioning of Hobson, that looked like it might have been a strike. But alas, called 1-0.
Julio DePaula is warming up for the Road Warriors now. Hard-throwing righty.
Hobson steps out after the strike is called. Count 1-1. Castile taking a smaller lead there at first. No need to add an extra out to where they are right now, as the bats just keep going. No need to risk against the quality arm of Wenrick. Looks like a slicer right through the right field side. Finally a new scenario there, as Hobson brings home Paredes, but men at first and second. This is the kind of opportunity Rodriguez needs, despite there being no outs. This is actually an improvement over where he was a minute ago, as he is just desperate to try and find an out for himself right now.
Wondering if any of the pitching coaches or even the manager is going to step out here and talk to Rodriguez, but looks like they're going to let him go for now as Vladimir Frias steps in. First and second, no outs.
At this point, you're already talking about and thinking about tomorrow night. I mean, 6-0, you're not trying to come back and fight for this necessarily, barring a big inning by the Road Warriors. They're just going to let him do his thing. That might actually be the double play they've been looking for right here. Yes, it is. The throw over from the shortstop. Martinez snags Frias after he rounds the second base. Hobson. Men at third. Ryan Castile there. And we now have officially batted around. Carlos Garcia will be stepping into the batter's box momentarily. He was our leadoff batter this inning.
That's a double play type you don't usually see often. That was a 3-6-1 double play.
Anything to get the outs at this point. I think Rodriguez is probably just relieved knowing that a fly out or a ground out here ends the inning for him without another run getting across.
I'm going to expect this to be it for Rodriguez after this. 6-run inning so far, even though man on third.
It's about a 20 ERA on the game, which is just absolutely brutal. Not even through his third inning, he's given up 6 runs. Garcia comfortable with his cadence here. As he warms up. Castile taking almost no lead there at third. It's not like he's going to steal any kind of bases. The infield, very ready. Garcia takes, makes it 2-0 against the second baseman.
I have not been keeping track of pitch count, but I'm assuming Rodriguez has got to be around 40 pitches this inning.
At the very least. I mean, 9 batters, that's only about 4 per, and we know multiple batters went way beyond that. Garcia
also trying to work this count as it's in hitters. 2-1.
I don't think they really need to worry about bouncing him from this game. I think that's a foregone conclusion. Garcia takes, make it even more of a batter's count. 3-1. 2 outs so far on the 6 runs scored for the Barnstormers this inning. Brings the score to 6-0. Barnstormers have 9 hits against the Road Warriors 3, and have the only error so far of this game. Castile moseys a little bit. Looks like Garcia might have finally ended things. That or send it out of here. It's right up against the wall. Wow, right fielder Fernandez Diaz has his hands on the wall, but manages to make that play. It looked like almost vertically. Garcia might have been thinking home run there as he kind of trotted some, but that'll end the inning finally. A big 6 runs here for the Barnstormers. Where do you think we go from here?
I think that's the confidence boost that Joe needed. Joe Gardner, the pitcher for the Barnstormers.
Just like we were talking about, yep.
Now I just got to, not coast, but just get through these next innings. Set up the Barnstormers for a winning night here as the Barnstormers go through 10 hitters in
if he
this
can
side.
Keep himself smooth, you got to think Gardner'd like to go pretty deep into this game. Ross Peoples, our manager, is probably going to be pushing him to go pretty far, keep the bullpen intact for the rest of this series. Up 6. You never want to say anything's for granted, but that'd be a heck of a comeback by a weak Road Warriors team. So Gardner at this point really does have the opportunity to feel comfortable, just play baseball, throw his pitches, not need to worry too much. He's warming up here. We'll be back in just one moment as Gustavo Pierre will be coming up to bat for the Road Warriors.
Back here in Lancaster, as the Barnstormers just finished off a 6-run bottom of the third. They had 6 runs and 7 hits in their half, as they own a 6-0 lead as Pierre steps in for the Road Warriors to lead off.
This is actually the batter Jorge Fernandez Diaz. It looks like we were both a little off there communicating who was up. The big inning for the Barnstormers knocked our memory around some. So, Fernandez Diaz batting here.
Count 1-1 as Fernandez Diaz, as we talked about. He was the only one that was really able to jumble up Joe Gardner in their last start last time.
Oh, foul ball right through the legs of both Castile and our home plate umpire, Derek Mosa. Count is 1-2 against the right fielder. The pitch, low, brings the count to 2-2. Fernandez Diaz is a fairly tall guy, extends the strike zone some, makes him more comfortable for pitchers, but I think pitchers might almost fall into the trap of giving him something he can hit because they know they can get the strike even with a little bit wider expectations there.
Exactly, a switch hitter, Fernandez Diaz, and he's 6'3", 188 pounds.
I always wonder how they get that specific with it. At what point do they measure from? 188 pounds? Who thinks of numbers like that? Either way, that's a strikeout there. Fernandez Diaz is sat down at the hands of Joe Gardner, and the big first baseman, Julio Ruiz, steps in. He's a lefty, number 29. Big first baseman is batting .290 thus far in the season. A quick pitch from Joe Gardner there. It's a little outside. Count is 1-0.
Julio Ruiz, earlier this season, played for the AAA Mexico, actually, with Saltillo, as he has to do a little salsa to get out of the way of that one.
Almost knocked off his feet. Big man getting the hips out of the way. You can see his feet slid back behind him, bows over a little bit, but it sneaks right through, doesn't get clipped, and the count is 2-0. Gardner probably a little frustrated with himself. He's moving quickly here. A foul ball finally headed the right direction. Looked like he actually fouled it off of his own foot as he's hopping around some more. Big man doing his acrobatics to say B.
It's going to be tough for him to hustle down that first baseline now. Bigger guy himself, and now he just dented his foot a little bit.
Gardner looking in, does his little side-to-side mosey. He's become a little bit known for that as he finds his positioning and deals. Great. You know, he really was moving a long way, but it did sneak under him, putting a man at first with 1 out for the Road Warriors, hoping to come back from a 6-run deficit here already in the 4th inning. Not looking promising for them. Gardner hoping to keep it that way. Now it's Gustavo Pierre. We were a little mixed up earlier, so he's batting now. Low and outside for him on the first pitch.
That was a difficult play for Josh Bell because they had the infield shift on with the big man, Julio Ruiz batting, and he was basically almost halfway to 3/4 of the way over to second base trying to make that play.
That really would have been the shortstop, Vladimir Frias's ball, quite comfortably if the shift wasn't on. But big man proving the stats sometimes can mix you up a little bit. He sneaks it through there. Pierre with a very overhead type of wind-up for his batting stance. Does not swing.
You could probably say that Pierre is the Road Warriors' best hitter. He leads the Road Warriors in home runs, RBIs, doubles, stolen bases, and slugging percentage.
I'm going to say with a pretty high level of confidence that yes, he is in fact the top hitter for the struggling Road Warriors. As he takes another pitch outside, 3-1 hitters count for the tall Pierre.
Julio Ruiz, man who just boarded first, he leads the team in average at .290.
Nobody's managed to clip the 300 threshold for the Road Warriors. That would kind of stink to be them, honestly. You gotta look for some runs to put together, and those runs are gonna be put together off of hits. Really, I mean, home runs and all are great, pitching is good, but if you can't hit the ball, you're going to struggle on the year, and that seems to be exactly what's happening this far for the Road Warriors, back after a couple-year hiatus. The pitch, swung, fielded cleanly by Bell, throws to second, just gets it over to first. Garcia does, makes it a double play to end the inning. Gets us out of trouble here for Joe Gardner as we head to the Barnstormers, part of the fourth inning, looking to continue the impressive hitting they've had thus far. 6 runs to the none for the Road Warriors. We will see you back in just a few moments.
Back here in Lancaster, pitching change for the Road Warriors as Julio Depala, the right-hander, will step in to pitch, and it's going to be the 9-1-2 hitters for the Barnstormers: Rico Noel, Darian Sanford, and Josh Bell.
These were the guys that got it going here for us last inning, the big 6-run explosion for the Barnstormers. Noel now batting in consecutive innings. He'll look to get the Barnstormers on another string like they just had. However, with DePaula in, they're going to need to start from base 0 again, trying to tire him out, get to a position where they can really get the bats going like they just had.
Oh.
Foul ball for Noel. Spiked right into the backstop, it looked like, and swirled up. Very strange ball there. As both men find their positioning again, Noel steps in, swirls his feet around some. He's choked up some on the bat, looking to just put the ball in play. That's exactly what he does. It'll drop in front of the left fielder, Aldrich, as Noel takes first base, bringing up Darian Sanford, the leadoff man. Again, in consecutive innings, Darian Sanford here, the leadoff, followed by Josh Bell and Blake Galen, the third baseman and right fielder consecutively. But like we mentioned before, some very hot hitters for the Barnstormers. And like we mentioned before, they're going to try and keep things going. The offense really had an opportunity to see a lot of the Road Warriors pitching this year already, and especially here tonight. So we will see how this plays out. Darian Sanford now making his way to the batter's box. Home plate umpire Derek Mosa and catcher Isaac Wenrick for the Road Warriors. Taking a brief mound visit, just, get themselves set. Don't want to have DePaula fall. Making his way well into a comfortable lead. However, he doesn't run, Sanford doesn't swing, and we are 1-0 here against Darian Sanford. The pitch fouled back left side of the park. Ball's actually bouncing on top of the dugout. Some kid's going to want to climb up and get it. Not sure if they're going to let him. Interesting. It's just sitting there. Too tantalizing, I must say.
As we just started the bottom of the fourth a couple minutes ago, the Barnstormers have eclipsed 10 hits already, double digits. We're not even halfway through this one yet.
Big time for the Barnstormers. The count is now 2-1.
Can't believe with Sanford's speed, he only has 9 doubles this year.
Yeah.
A lot of bunts put down. Just fouls that one way back in the back parking lot, it looks like.
It'll drop down, almost beans a kid, but looks like she's okay. That's good. Of course it's good. Count is now 2-2 against leadoff man Darian Sanford. Bit of a slower pace here by DePaula than what we were used to with Rodriguez before.
Trying to be extra cautious, not give up any more runs for a Road Warriors comeback that they're going to try and assemble.
Noel looks to scare Wenrick a little bit, but looks like he doesn't quite get the jump he was looking for. Quickly returns to first base. Darian Sanford there is set down, giving DePaula his first out of this game, and the Barnstormers their first out of this inning. Bell, the third baseman and the hitting coach, steps in the lefty side of the batter's box.
Don't know if we're going to see him coaching too much in the future, because this is someone they're going to want in the lineup probably every day the rest of the way.
Absolutely. Head down the stretch. You want anybody you can have, and the Barnstormers seem to be getting a lot of production out of some of their veterans, and what's more veteran than someone who, in fact, is paid to teach other people how to hit. Noel finally takes off. Wenrick looks like he bounced it, actually, not even warranting a throw, as Noel overruns the bag some and is comfortably back with no problem.
We're going to have another mound visit right here, just between Wenrick and DePaula.
Trying to get their signs together, I think. It looks like Wenrick wasn't quite ready for it, but manager for the Road Warriors and trainer coming out, just want to check on him, but they're sent back away, say, nah, I got this, I'm good.
Don't really know what that was about. I didn't see. I don't think I saw any, like, wincing of pain or anything.
My only thought is they might be worried about Wenrick. Looked like he really bobbled that, maybe off the top part of his chest. It's kind of hard to tell with his back to us. DePaula fires again with a really excitable arm action there. Really firing it away. Got a lot of moving parts in his windup. Bell isn't phased, though, as he takes his third consecutive ball, bringing the count to 3-0 with one out here in the bottom of the fourth.
Once again, Barnstormers leading 6-0. They have 10 hits compared to the Road Warriors 4, and the only error in the game is on the Barnstormers side. That happened early, though, on Casey Opson throwing error.
The veteran Bell, no strikes against him, takes, bring it to a 3-1 count. Still obviously a batter's count. Blake Galen watching in the wings, getting ready to take his own hacks here in just a minute. Bell takes again. It looked like it might have been some kind of curving action. The ball started probably on the outside part of the plate, worked its way back comfortably for a strike against Bell. Brings the count full.
That was a nice pitch right there. I thought
It
that was
really
going to
was.
be way outside, and I believe it was
Just sort of floated back into position.
looked like a slider that just fell right back over the outside part of the plate.
Bell is upset at himself as he takes again and is struck out. You got to get the bat off your shoulder. 3-2, you got to protect. You really can't say that's a hitter's count anymore. And the hitting coach is probably frustrated himself, setting a bad example for his batters.
Well, you could just say DePaula's getting guys out right now. He's getting them out with the strikeout. He's got back-to-back. Sanford and Bell both down. As here comes all-star right fielder Blake Galen.
Doing what needs done. He couldn't get it from his fielder, so he's getting it himself.
Pitch way inside right there. It's going to be 1-0. 2 away. Rico Noel on second. Quick legs out there on the base path, so I believe anything into the outfield here would be a for sure run. And the infield playing pretty far back out on the outfield grass.
We're finally seeing a right fielder drift in some. Ooh, that hits right off of the hip of Galen.
He's got some words to say.
Yeah, he's walking out towards. It looks like we might get some men walking towards the center of the diamond here, but everybody seems to calm themselves down. There are no concerns as he walks over to first. Not sure what's going on. Ah, it's starting to rain. There's a mass exodus from the seating bowl. Thought everybody thought the game was over there for a second with the number of people that jumped up. Everybody is back into where they need to be, though, to stay nice and dry. Galen's not too worried about arguing with DePaula anymore. Seemed upset there for a second, but nothing doing.
Paredes takes that one the opposite way, and that's in.
That's down into the corner. The left fielder, Aldrich, having some trouble fielding it off a really strange setup out there in left field. As Galen scores, that brings home at least one more run. That's two more. Noel and Galen. Galen scoring from first base. Paredes with the double makes it 8-0 Barnstormers. That's really a tough break for DePaula here, looking to try and get out of this inning. But the Barnstormers tack on a few more. Here is the skies have opened up at Clipper Magazine Stadium. A little bit of concern here for the players, a little bit of looking around, wondering what the game plan is. Cameraman covering up, but the game will continue, it looks like. Oh, now there's some choice words. Looks like some men are coming out of the the benches. We got an argument here. This is getting exciting. We saw this last week too. Wenrick was involved. Wenrick and Hobson. This is the same thing. Wenrick and Hobson here. Trayvon getting in his face.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, this is clear. Benches are cleared. It looks like we're getting in position to pull the tarp anyways, as everybody's right there around home plate. Hobson and Wenrick, they had words with each other last week. Galen just got hit a minute ago as Wenrick and Hobson are arguing here. Manager Ross Peoples is right in the thick of it. Looks like they are they're literally waving the Road Warriors back into where they need to be. It looked like the pitcher, DePaula, was saying, no, we don't have time for this. My arm is cold. It's raining. We are not doing this right now. Go sit down. Everything's okay. Wenrick is still hot. He is angry. I think he might be getting ejected from this game, or at least sat down for a minute. They're arguing. A lot of words being thrown, at least the umpire. Manager Ross Peoples is hanging around. There's a lot of people hanging around in the infield, too. I think they're getting concerned about a tarping kind of situation, too. Yeah, this argument's going to drag out. Ross is getting really upset at I think that's a home plate umpire, Derek Mose there. First base umpire with him as well, Nate Caldwell. Yeah, they got the backup catcher, and Wenrick's night is done.
That all goes back to last week, the last game of the series on Thursday night, when I believe it was Julio Ruiz for the Road Warriors hit a home run, and then pitcher Nate Reed for the Stormers hit him later in the game. Benches cleared then, but nothing transpired from that. But now hitting, you would say, the best hitter for the Barnstormers, Blake Galen. And then Ryan Castile comes up to the plate, has a few choice words with Isaac Wenrick, the former Barnstormer. And then both get tossed out of the game. Castile's also gone for the night.
Wow, that was... Wow. Ryan Castile thrown out of that game. I'm surprised of that from him. He really wasn't much involved, it looked like, but apparently the umpire disagrees with my angle. Casey Hobson's still in the game. He's getting ready to bat here again. No balls, no strikes against him, as he has not actually had the opportunity to throw a pitch. The argument started just as he stepped up into the batter's box. There's some rain going on. I think they're going to look at Ross Peoples and the umpire, see if they want to try and tarp out here. I'm not even sure what they're waiting for at this point. The rain's really coming down.
Well, I don't think you want to bring the tarp out right now because you still have to get through the top of the 5th for this one to be official.
Things are looking rough. Yeah, you're right. They're probably going to try and scrape this along. Bullpens, if they know they're not pitching tonight, looks like they're heading into the dugout. They're going to try and drag it out. Ross isn't really willing to do this. This is quite a delay here. Gloves are finally picked up off the infield grass. There was a while there where our infielders for the Road Warriors were not even prepared to play.
Don't really... Oh, I was going to say, I couldn't even find the outfielders. Their right field and center fielder are back just standing against the green...
Looks like
big green wall out in right field. And
looks like they're waiting there for Castile and Wenrick to actually leave the grounds. Wenrick heading on his way out. He's still chattering some. The first base umpire, Nate Caldwell, says, just get out of here. He got the whole thumb and fist pump, throwing him away. Looks like Paredes at second base is trying to get everybody out of there. They're all watching Wenrick because he is just going off right now. Everybody's walking with him, just making sure everything goes the way they need to. This rain continues to come down. I think Wenrick's upset here, and I think because of it, this game is getting quite delayed, and the game might be in danger of getting delayed here if things don't get going again real quick.
Ryan Castile and Isaac Wenrick both getting tossed, and that also goes back to last week as well, because Castile was the catcher for Nate Reed when that happened, and I do remember seeing Castile and Wenrick getting pretty close to each other in each other's faces, probably a little face wash, saying, all right, you want to go? They didn't want to go.
Looks like our backup catcher here is Armindo Escobar.
Oh, now they're running. Oh, something's going on out there in right field. And all the players are running out to right field.
This looks like some kind of fight.
This isn't
going to
end well.
We can't tell what's going on, but things are getting exciting. We can't tell even what's happening here. Paredes stays in his position. It is pouring. I have no idea what's going on right now. They're not bringing the tarp out. It's not because of rain. There is a fight in the right field corner. I don't know what's happening. I can't tell. We're going to need to find out from somebody who can see better what is happening in that right field corner. Everybody's finally coming back. Meanwhile, this field continues to get ruined as it pours. This is becoming quite an exciting 4th inning. Nothing good is going to come from all of this delay with this rain coming down. Gloves litter the infield here. Nobody's where they need to be. Looks like
I have no idea what is happening right now. I've never seen anything
somebody's
like this.
Somebody's ejected from the game, walking out of the stadium, and is so verbal about their upsetness that there's another benches clearing incident. Everybody's drifting back. Nobody's in any kind of rush. They've said, screw it, I'm wet. At this point, nobody knows what's going on. Jimmy Paredes has stayed within a 10-foot radius of second base the entire time. Literally, Jimmy Paredes has not left his post there. He is looking around at everybody else, wondering the same thing we are, and what the heck are you guys doing? Let's get this thing going. Looks like the pitcher DePaul is literally sitting on the mound trying to get himself organized. His manager's talking to him. Everybody's drifting back into position. I was saying before, our new catcher for the Road Warriors will be Armindo Escobar. He's a right-handed batter. He is 6'2", 235 pounds, with a 229 average to his name, along with a 270 OBP, a 340 slugging percentage, with 1 home run, 2 RBIs.
I just am absolutely
I'm astounded
shocked
right now.
Just no words to describe what has been going on here in this 4th inning.
drifting back to the dugouts. I'm not sure if we can really put this into words. Honestly, it's looking at 10 minutes now of delay. And we're not talking rain delay. We're talking 2 benches clearing incidents in the rain. There is rain happening, and there is a problem going on the field. The field is getting ruined. I really don't know how to describe this outside of...
I don't even think the players...
Unique. The players have no idea what's going on. Somebody started running. Everybody else started following whoever it was that started running. And, well, it looks like there was probably some more words being thrown. Oh, my goodness. The manager and the umpire now are talking to each other. That's home plate umpire Derek Mosa and the Road Warriors manager... Ellie Rodriguez. Thank you. Ellie drifting back into position. It looks like we might be able to finally get this game back underway. There are 2 outs here to remind you for the Barnstormers. They're up 8-0. They have 11 hits to 4. The Road Warriors are just having quite a night for themselves.
I believe I'll try and put a picture in the viewers' minds. Ryan Castile and Isaac Wenrick, catchers for the respective teams, get thrown out of the game. Castile leaves, and he heads back to the locker room. And then about 2-3 minutes later, so does Isaac Wenrick. His first pitch is called strike to De La Rosa. He heads back. Well, not even 20 seconds, I'd say, before, or after, I should say, I couldn't see Wenrick anymore in the outfield. Both benches are just running back there. I don't know if Castile was waiting back there.
They must have been. They probably saw some people headed. Things were getting a little rough on everybody. I wonder if the right fielder for the Road Warriors, Fernandez Diaz, called them out, seeing what was going on and looking for some support for his boy before things got more physical. Anderson De La Rosa now is the new catcher for the Barnstormers. This matters because though he's hitting, it was the catcher for both sides that were thrown out. So we have 2 new catchers, Anderson De La Rosa for the Barnstormers, and like I mentioned a moment ago, Armindo Escobar for the Road Warriors. De La Rosa's hitting .221, a home run and 10 RBIs. The count against him is 2-1.
That was still absolutely crazy. And honestly, when I saw the Road Warriors bench clearing, I thought they were running inside due to rain.
Yeah, there was a moment there. Being inside, we can't really tell how hard it's raining. We can only see that there's some significant rain going on. The tarp crew is in position. We thought that the skies opened up. As has happened in the past, the players usually know first when things are going awry weather-wise. And we saw them running, and then we saw the Barnstormers running, and then we saw no tarp, and we said, oh no.
And we're only in the bottom of the 4th. If the weather holds up and the game does go the distance, I think it would be pretty hard for the players to put their feelings in the back of their minds and be able to move on.
This is only the beginning of a 3, as that ball is lined way into left field. However, it is foul into the grass to the left of the pole. This is only the beginning of a 3-game series here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Feelings got a little tense last time they played last week, but that was the end of that series, so you thought maybe things would end there. Things did not end there. Things got exciting here tonight as De La Rosa strikes out on a really weak swing. Things just sort of got out of control again tonight, and these 2 teams see each other tomorrow. If nobody feels good about it, they're going to go home and can come back tomorrow. They're going to do this whole thing again, not even a day later.
And even if they do cool off tonight, nothing transpires for the rest of the night, Nate Reed's on the mound tomorrow. The man that started all this by hitting the first baseman for the Road Warriors, Julio Ruiz.
Correct.
So we'll have to see what goes on around here at the Clip.
Could be a big night for Nate Reed. Either way, he's looking to break the Barnstormer strikeout career record tomorrow night, currently held by manager Ross Peoples in his extended pitching career. We'll be right back. Short commercial break here as we head to the top of the 5th.
Back here at Clipper Magazine Stadium as we're going to try and start the top of the 5th here after some crazy events. 2 bench clearing scenarios in the bottom of the 4th.
You really can't call it a brawl, maybe a heated argument. No fists were thrown. Looked like a bit of pushing and shoving. The 2 catchers are thrown out. The new catcher for the Road Warriors, Armindo Escobar, steps in now. We read you his stats earlier, but another brief overview. Hitting .229, a home run, 2 RBIs for himself. The rain continues here at the Clip, but we're only 3 outs away from this officially being a game if things do go downhill from here.
Just see if things mellow down here, and hopefully Joe Gardner can get into a groove and, in a sense, hopefully frustrate these guys even more if he can put them down.
It was about a 20-minute overall gap between the last time Gardner was on the mound, so you really got to wonder if he's cold as he really pulls that pitch there almost down into the dirt.
Well, he's got a big lead to work with. Barnstormers are up 8-0 here. So I would just hope, even if he does give up a couple runs, it's still going to be a solid outing so far
absolutely.
for Joe. He's given 4 hits so far.
With only 4 hits, exactly. There's a called strike there. Counts 2-1. He pitches again. Foul ball there. 2-2. Looking like maybe some kind of
all these events, and it's only game 1 of this
absolutely.
best of 3.
We're an hour and a half into this game. Not quite halfway. We're in for what could be quite a special evening here at the Clip. For the fans that have stuck through the rain, they're a little bit up against the back. A few people in their customary seats just brought out the umbrellas. The strikeout here against the new catcher. That'll bring up Edwin Gomez, the DH for the Road Warriors. That's another strikeout for Joe Gardner. He's really having a great night tonight, and that's the other half of our keys to the game. We're really hitting it, and things are looking up very much so for the Barnstormers. We said they needed to put up some early offense. It only took them 3 innings, and they had 6 runs, added 2 last inning in the 4th. That brings us to 8 runs for the Barnstormers, and Joe Gardner limits the Road Warriors to only 4 hits, no runs themselves, making the score for tonight 8-0.
And the Road Warriors, we said, only have 4 hits as we work the top of the 5th, and 2 of those were the first 2 batters to start this game, had 2 hits, and then Joe was able to get out of that conundrum. So he's settled in well as the Barnstormers just look to keep chugging along here.
Everybody's in position, and the 1-1 pitch called ball. 2-1 now against the batter, Edwin Gomez. If it sounds like we're slowing down a little bit, that's because we are finally getting a chance to breathe here after all of the excitement. Gomez, yes, lines it down through the gap between the third baseman and the shortstop. Excuse me, I cannot catch my throat there. He's on first base, and that will bring up the left fielder, Daniel Aldrich, now.
Oh, it's hard to get our mind back to baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
after what we just watched, the
previous
half.
Right now, yeah. I mean, I'm almost shell-shocked by all this excitement. Daniel Aldrich, the lefty, in position against Joe Gardner. 1 out, man on first for the Road Warriors. He chops that down the line in right field. Blake Galen hustling after it. Gomez is around second. Oh, we might have a play at second. Aldrich manages to get in safely. Frias cannot handle the ball. That might have been an out if he fields it cleanly. Galen with a cannon out in right field. Almost guns Aldrich down at second. However, either way, we got men at second and third now for the Road Warriors. Only 1 out. I think this might be their best opportunity so far in this game to put some runs up on the board. Last time they had men at second and third, there were 2 outs, and it did not end the way they would like it to.
I'm just curious to see how Joe Gardner is able to finish this scenario. Is it going to be positive, or is he going to give up a couple runs here?
I think that's the thing Joe Gardner seems to struggle with the most, is trying to fill out those clutch situations. Anybody can get an out when there's already 2 and nobody's on base in this kind of league. But when your back's against the wall in this type of situation, only 1 out, men at second and third. There's a quick ground ball. Oh my goodness, the big man, Casey Hobson, in a foot race to first base, eventually runs down the center fielder, Anthony Ray, who was batting there. It was quite exciting. One run does come across, but now there's 2 outs, man at third. Our score is 8-1. We've neglected to mention it before, but that batter was Anthony Ray. He was the 9-hole hitter, and Osvaldo Martinez, the leadoff hitter, playing shortstop, comes in now to try and continue this scoring chance here for the Road Warriors. As we said before, probably the best chance they've had all game to put up some big runs. They split that opportunity, 1 out, 1 run. So Osvaldo Martinez probably looking to get a good hit here, bring home the man at third.
Keeping an eye on Gardner, as the trainer did come out a couple steps, but Joe said I'm okay, as he sprinted over to first, but KC took it himself. And I don't know if it came up a little awkward or gingerly afterwards, but he says he's all right and starts this at-bat with a strike.
Outside there, count 1-1.
As now he's looking a little frustrated. He wants that call from home plate umpire, but he's not going to receive it.
On deck right now, Melvin Rodriguez-Ortiz for the Road Warriors, as that ball is chopped into the dirt, dribbles its way over towards the Road Warriors dugout on the third base line. Martinez taps the dirt out of his cleats. The rain continues to come down tonight. I think we might see only one more out here before they eventually tarp this, as the rain is really putting a damper on an already not so good field. Osvaldo Martinez, a really high pop-up, ranging over towards the tarp is third baseman Josh Bell. He makes the play, almost falls over the tarp. Everybody hustles back into the dugout. Looks like my earlier prediction, though, was wrong. Oh, nope, I was right. Here comes the tarp crew. Everybody's getting in position to roll that out. Yep, here comes
the tarp.
We are going to have a delay of game here. Everything's getting ready to go. However, the umpire is now talking to the tarp crew. I'm not sure exactly what the game plan is. Okay, now they are getting ready here. We are going to go to a commercial break right now. We'll be back in a little bit just to let you know what's going on, how long we expect this delay to last, all those kinds of exciting details. Stick with us, as there's still lots of baseball to be played if it can.
Back here at rainy Clipper Magazine Stadium now, as both teams have left their respective dugouts and have headed back to the clubhouses, as we are in a official rain delay here. Tarp on the field. Rain still coming down. Going to keep you guys updated as we go along. But for now, we're going to take another break. Be back in a little bit.
We have confirmed that Barnstormers front office ramifications, what we'd like to see the rest of this series, both baseball-wise and a little bit of this extracurricular activity. So now we're going to take our break. We'll check in every few minutes, trying to let you know what we see, what's going on. This game is not over, so do not leave us hanging. Stick with us right now.
Back here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, our enemy is on the field right now. The Big Gray Tarp, as your Barnstormers lead this one 8-1 over the Road Warriors. Barnstormers really dominated the third and fourth innings as we have finished the top of the fifth. We're officially halfway through, so if this one had to come to an end, it would be official. And Joe Gardner, starting pitcher for the Lancaster Barnstormers, has been good tonight. Little hiccups in that last part.
That's right. He's staying true to form here. We saw him do an excellent job last week for the Stormers, limiting the Road Warriors to only 2 runs. It looks like he's on pace very similarly again here tonight, having only given up 1 run so far. I really think that, though, his night is done. Unless they pull this tarp right now, and it doesn't look like that's the plan, you're not going to try and warm up a guy again. His arm's going to be shot. I think we're going to see probably a long relief kind of guy come out of the bullpen for the Barnstormers. Anytime you kind of get this type of rain delay, that's what you're going to be looking for. They're up 7 runs. I don't think they're going to be trying to break the system here. They're going to try and play some smart baseball, try and keep things rolling, not blow out the bullpen on a blowout game like this. I mean, so far we've really seen everything you can imagine from a baseball game up to this point happen. Almost everybody on the Barnstormers team has a hit. We don't have any home runs yet this evening, but multiple doubles, lots of stolen bases, like we mentioned, lots of runs. The Barnstormers are really doing what they do best. They're playing at least passable defense. They made a few nice plays, but I don't think they've really blown anything out of the water. Not so far, but they're playing consistent, solid defense. They're getting consistent, solid pitching, and then just letting their bats roll. That's where they're built to perform, is with the bats and on the base paths, and that's, again, what they've been doing so far tonight. As we get them, we'll be throwing some stats in your direction. So far this evening, Blake Galen is probably your top hitter. He has a few RBIs and a few hits to his name.
Darian Sanford also having a great night. He has 2 hits. Should almost had 3 if he could beat out that opening ground out to shortstop.
That's right. Rico Noel with 2 hits. Carlos Garcia with 2 hits. Everybody's hitting tonight. Everybody's trying to put together a good night for themselves. This is the kind of night where you can really build up a bit of a professional acumen, if you know what I mean, Evan. Mm-hmm. You hate to say it, but batters in this kind of league are oftentimes looking to go up to the next level, trying to get a career off the ground, try and kickstart a career that's stalled, trying to hold on to something that they may have lost a little bit. And the way to do that is going to be through the personal stats. Guys that are hitting in this league oftentimes do get their contracts purchased, but you're not going to have 30, 35 pro scouts at every game. That's just not the nature of this kind of league. That's not the nature of this kind of setup. So it's much more likely that people are keeping track of stats, looking at matchups, seeing who's doing well. It's what we had happen for Joey Tadosevich earlier this year. He was a great first baseman for the Barnstormers. I think these guys are looking at that kind of situation happening and saying, like, look, I want to be the next Joey Tadosevich for the Barnstormers. I want to get up, I want to play some affiliated ball. I want to try and have a crack at a major league team this year.
We've had multiple guys tonight making statements like that with their bats, and some with their legs running the base as well. We saw Blake Galen on first base, and then ended up all the way at home with just 1 swing of the bat of a man. And I believe that was...
He was really putting the wheels on. We've mentioned it a few times this game. You've probably heard it a million times if you follow even Atlantic League baseball, not even the Barnstormers. Blake Galen is truly just a stud. He is a former Baseball America Independent League Player of the Year, a former Atlantic League Player of the Year. He's already got as many home runs this year as he has in that year of 2012. Just putting up some great numbers, really being the spark plug this Stormers offense is needed at times. This evening we've actually seen a few balls hit off the top of the right field wall. If it was any lower, I think we'd have a few home runs this evening, but none so far, as they've all ricocheted back into play. Just to try and keep you updated, we are still in a rain delay here. It looks like the rain is starting to slow down some, a little bit less wind, more vertical drop going on right now. Grounds crew is keeping an eye on the field, keeping an eye on the conditions. They're really going to try and get this one in if they can. However, at the moment we are in the delay. People are starting to head out. You gotta be a little bit concerned about what's going on.
And yeah, even as we said earlier, we've played 5.5 or 4.5, I should say. So this one is official. Even if they were to try and come out and play, like, doesn't really matter anyway.
No.
The Barnstormers though this is the baseball that they played in the first half that made them very successful,
pushing for an early playoff spot.
They ended up basically giving that lead away down in Sugarland. However, there's big offensive strikes like tonight, 8 runs in the first 4 innings, and just needing the defense to just not be bad.
Yeah, really that's what it comes down to. They've got one of the best offenses in the league. They've got some of the top pitchers in the league. They just need the defense to be passable. That's what it's been tonight. It's showing in the box score. We are up 8-1 here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. We'll be back in a little bit, try and keep you updated as to this rain delay type of situation. But this game has not been called yet. Do not leave us. We will be back in the near future.
When we come back, we're going to be joined by Ryan Cortazzo.
That's right.
We'll be right back.
We are back here at beautiful Clipper Magazine Stadium. Not quite a beautiful night tonight so far. We've got the tarp on the field, some rain coming down. However, Evan and I are joined right now by Brett and Ryan here. They're going to tell us a little bit about what they've seen so far this evening. So, Ryan, take us from the beginning. There was a benches clearing incident twice so far. What did you see? What do you think?
Yeah, so Brooks, basically, to really understand this, you have to go back a whole series. So, last series, the Road Warriors got plunked in the back. I can't remember the guy right now for the life of me, but they got plunked in the back and didn't like the pitch very much. And there were some words exchanged. Both sides got warnings. And fast forward to this series, so it's actually kind of odd. We're playing them a week later, same series at home. So I feel like they haven't even left. So the animosity is still quite present. So fast forward a little bit into the game here. Blake Galen gets hit square in the back off an obvious beam pitch, and he did not like it at all. I thought he was about to charge him out right there and then, but he jawing down the whole way down the first base, and on the next play they hit a single to right field, and Galen scored from first, and I've never seen such determined hustle before.
Yeah.
And he got all the way around the home, and then once he got down to home, I feel like some words were exchanged, and I've looked back on the replay multiple times now, and I saw Castile and Wenrick both just jawing at each other, going back and forth. So the more I watched it, it was quite clear that they both got tossed immediately. They must have been dropping F-bombs, saying whatever they wanted to say, and once they got tossed, obviously the benches got a little crazy for a few seconds, so they cleared. There wasn't any punches thrown or anything. It was just a whole bunch of back off. So,
a little bit of shoving, a little bit of jockeying.
Yeah, not anything too crazy, but so yeah, that basically wraps up what happened right there. So then how rules work, you gotta wait until the guys are off the field. So the catchers are both exiting the field, and as they get out to right field, I got a little inside from one of the players sitting up here. He's charting pitches, but I was talking to him, and apparently, little backstory if you don't know, Wenrick was on our team in the beginning of the season, so he knows everyone. Him and Trayvon were just talking to each other out in right field, and basically both teams didn't know what was going on because you can't really see that far into the corner. So both teams run out to right field. There's no altercation. Nothing really happens. But I mean, if you just tuned in and watched the game, you'd see a different story. It looked like there was fights, but really nothing happened between two catchers getting thrown out.
And that was tough for us to see over here because we don't have a good view out into the right field fence area.
Right.
So we just assumed
Yeah, if
that
you were
it
going
was
to
a
go back
big
and listen to
scuffle.
our broadcast, we calling what you were saying, if it looked like there was another scuffle going on.
Yeah, you look in real time and you think it's a big fight, but then you look back at the replays, you look back and see, hindsight's 20/20. You can see there wasn't really too much going on besides some just hard feelings.
Absolutely, still very exciting. So I'm going to take this over to Brett now. Brett, speak up. We know you're a little bit in the back over there. Tell us what you think we'd be seeing from the rest of the series. We know we have Nate Reed on the mound tomorrow. He was the pitcher in the original incident that Ryan referenced from last week. Do you think we'll see any kind of spillover from this incident in terms of off-field kind of discussion, or even what do you think we'll see the rest of the week on field? What would you be looking for teams to be doing offensively and defensively?
Well, for the stuff to spill over, you don't want to see any of that happen. You just came to see some baseball with your family, brought your kid along. You don't want to see any fist fights or altercations on the field.
This isn't hockey, right?
Exactly, this isn't hockey. We're all here to see some clean family fun, and no one wants to see that. But yeah, I'm hoping that Reed will keep to himself, not escalate anything. Leave it up to the Road Warriors to start anything if that needs to be, but hopefully it won't be.
Reed being the ace, would you expect, even if there wasn't an incident tonight, but something from last week, that he'd still be into that, or do you think being the ace, he'd have the mindset of really trying to go out and queue up some good pitching opportunities. Ryan, you seem excited about this one.
Yeah, so I 100% believe that Nate Reed is going to stay away from this. Nate Reed is very close to breaking the all-time record for strikeouts for the Barnstormers. So, in my opinion, as a professional, I know Nate Reed is a huge thinker when it comes to pitching. I can't see him not focusing on getting the strikeouts that he needs. So it would take some choice words from the Road Warriors, and I think it would take some hard feelings from Nate to really start that. But I think he's going to worry about the strikeouts.
Well, that's awesome, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for letting us know. We know our viewers get a little tired of our voice, especially in these delayed games. So thank you for breaking things up, letting us know what's going on, and giving us the inside scoop.
No problem.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
We will be back in a little bit. Keep you updated as to what's going on here in this rain delay. Thank you for listening in so far. We'll be back in just a minute. And we're back here, Clipper Magazine Stadium. This game has officially been called due to rain. After the top of the 5th inning, we have 4.5 innings played. Barnstormers have won it here, 8-1. Just to be a little bit different here, try and talk about something you might not have heard so far this evening. We've brought our box office director, Doug, here. He's part of an interesting blog called Baseball Desk, hoping to educate people about a little bit about what we do in sports. So, Doug, tell us a little bit about your inspiration and what Baseball Desk is.
Brooks and Evan, thank you so much for having me on the broadcast tonight. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Baseball Desk just started with a simple vision, just trying to provide some insight into the sports world for anyone who's looking to get into the industry or wants to learn more about it. So Alex and I, who also works here, we just kind of brainstormed the idea, but putting out content ever since. Podcasts, some blogs, just interviewing other baseball professionals in the industry, just trying to, just to share some insight.
Tell us a little bit about your so-called hot dog blogs.
The hot dog blog, huge fan of it, really proud of it. We just, one of our questions for our podcast guests was just how many hot dogs have you eaten at a game? Because, as we all know, there's dollar dog nights, there's long nights at the ballpark, and staff, we get hungry, so we like to see who can eat the most hot dogs.
Well, what is your personal record, Doug?
My personal record at this point is actually, I believe it's 5.
Weak?
It's pretty weak.
Sauce?
Pretty weak. I have never actually gone for an official record yet. I've just kind of sat and ate hot dogs throughout the course of the night, so I've done some hot dog eating contests too, so I probably ate more than 5 in that contest, but I don't think I got them all down either, so I don't count that.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
So we just like to ask people how it's going and in the world, and then we like to rate some hot dogs from around other ballparks in the league and just see who's got the best dog out there. So that's where the blog came from.
That's
awesome.
Very good. So do you guys have any existing schedule when you guys put out content, anything you guys do on a regular basis? And then where would you like to see Baseball Desk go from here? You're about a year in.
Yeah, definitely. So every Monday during the season, we like to put out a podcast. So we usually like to interview other baseball professionals. This past week, we actually had Scott Schumann, who's a former Lancaster Barnstormers pitcher. Had him on just sharing his insights into the baseball industry as a player. But we put out a couple podcasts throughout the season, and we like to go regularly with those in the off season, trying to put one out a week, and then also a couple of blog posts every week. Sometimes it's news, sometimes it's just something that we shared a while ago, just to keep the content up there and just keep sharing our insights with the baseball world.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us this evening, Evan. If you don't have any other questions for Doug,
I have a couple things.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yep. Lay it on me.
First of all, congrats on the success of Baseball Desk and the hot dog blogs and your podcasts, all that good stuff. I want to take it over to the Diamond actually now.
Sure.
What do you expect from this Barnstormers team the rest of the way? What are you expecting, or what are your expectations of them?
Sure. Yeah, I've been here. This has been my 3rd season here now, and Barnstormers, we missed the playoffs a couple of years in a row in some tight races. So I'm hoping that this is the year that they can crack through. It would be the first time since 2015 make a playoff berth. So we're looking forward to hopefully seeing a good second half push. We got a decent chance to at least land a wild card in the second half. So as long as the pitching can hold up and we stay free from injury, I think that we have a pretty good shot at playing some postseason baseball in Lancaster for the first time in a while.
We've been offering some keys to the game. Do you have any, maybe call them keys to the postseason? What's going to get them to shut the door, get it there?
Definitely. I think always in this league it comes down to starting pitching. Whoever's got the starting pitching is going to be able to make a run. So I'd like to see our starters step up and push us to the final stretch. I'd also like to see some more consistency out of our middle of the lineup. I think getting some guys are going well, getting some other guys going in the middle of the lineup to kind of pick up some slack would be huge if some guys can get hot towards the end of the year.
Tonight was a great night for the middle of the lineup for the Lancaster Barnstormers. And what Doug was talking about pitching tomorrow, lefty ace for the Barnstormers, Nate Reed's going to take the mound, hopefully to shut down this Road Warriors offense. Doug, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck to you at the Baseball Desk.
Thanks for having me.
And, of course, the Barnstormers. Let's go, Barnstormers.
Listeners, we'll see you back here tomorrow night at 6:45 as Brooks and Evan look to repeat their broadcast from tonight, hopefully get an entire game in. That's 6:45, same place. Thank you for listening. Go home safely.